Okay, class. Today, our main topic that we are going to discuss is the chapter on light. So, light, first thing comes in our mind is what is light? Light is a form of energy. Now, it is a form of energy which enables us to see the things. So, that simply means if the light is falling on an object, then that thing becomes visible. That thing becomes visible. You can see that thing. And if something is there inside your bag, in your pocket, where light is not reaching, that means you are not able to see those things. So the first fundamental that you must know is that whenever light falls on an object, this energy is falling on an object, then it makes us visible. It is visible to us. We are going to see it. This is the first thing that you have to understand. Now, the very next point that we have to understand when we are talking about this light is what is reflection, because it is a main important phenomena that is associated with the properties of the light. Light is in a habit to show the reflection when it is striking a polished surface. So, my dear class, when I mean to say the polished surface, I mean to say a surface that is smooth, that is polished, right? So this is a polished surface. So, first thing, what is the important thing that we have to understand? What is reflection? Reflection is when a ray of light, you can see a laser light here, and as I have pressed, you can see the red light falling on it, right? The red spot. So when a ray of light is falling on a polished surface, then it is bounced back. You can see, then it is bounced back. If this is this is my source of light, I am making this fall on the surface. It is going to strike the surface and this light is going to bounce back. When we will do this experiment in a dark room, then it is a very clear-cut experiment which is very easily seen. So what you have to understand, bouncing back of light rays on striking a polished surface into the same medium. Don't forget to mention this word, into the same medium. So what is electrolysis? Electrolysis is when a light falls on a mirror or any polished surface, then that light is bounced back. When you throw the ball, it bounces back to you on the same medium. जहाँ से वो बॉल आपने नीचे फेंकी, उसी मीडियम में बॉल वापस आएगी. तो into the same medium, then it is called reflection of light. Okay, now yesterday I met across with this brush. So it's a simple surf. It is an uneven surface. And this one is actually, my dear students, the smooth surface, the polished surface where we talked about the reflection of light. So it is a simple brush-like thing. It is made colorful with this metallic coating and it is actually going to do the reflection. So if I'm going to put my laser light into it, so we are going to see the laser light and it is going to reflect back, as I can see on my room that it is being thrown here and it is going back to the screen, and it depends upon this thing is reflection. So now what is the basic fundamental behind this reflection process? I have written, I always ask my students, learn this BB, bouncing back. Okay, this is the BB. This defines the process of phenomena of reflection. So it is a bouncing back of light rays when it strikes the polished surface. So now this one is a polished surface, right? This is not polished, but this one is a polished surface. Now it has been calculated that once this reflection is going on, it follows the procedure. It is falling on a surface. Mind it, my dear student, it is falling. This is my light source. Now it is falling on that surface. Right? This is a source of light. This is incident light. So light is coming in this direction. It is falling on the surface and it was found that it got reflected back this way. This angle, this particular angle is called angle I, or we say angle of incidence, or angle of incidence. And you know what is the beauty? The beauty is that this angle I with this normal, this angle which is being formed by this particular ray, the incident ray and the normal is equal to the reflected ray, this pink line. So this particular angle which was formed here, this particular angle, I'm shading it so that you can see it clearly. Now this particular angle with the normal and the reflected ray, it formed the angle of reflection, angle R. So what is angle R? Angle R is equal to angle of reflection. And a law was made, and this law is that the laws of reflection, the first law states that the incident ray, the reflected ray and the normal all lie at the point of incidence. This is the point of incidence. They lie on the same plane. The second law states that angle of incidence, this angle, it was found to be exactly the same with this pink angle. That is, angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. So what you have learned right now? You have learned what is reflection. It is bouncing back of light rays, bounce back. Bouncing back of light rays when it strikes a polished surface into the same medium. I told you, you have to make sure that this medium is word written there. Then diagrammatically how you are going to show? कोई भी polished surface होगा, we always draw a straight line and do some slanting lines into it. This shows that polish is there. That shows that surface is opaque. The light is not going out. Now in this case, this is not a polished surface. The light is getting in, going out. So it is transparent, we say it. But in this case, when we have drawn these slanting lines, this means that the surface is opaque and the light is going to strike here, strike back, bounce back. And what is this? This is our reference range. That is angle 90 degree. It is a perpendicular angle. Like you can see on my board, it is a 90 degree angle that has been there. So it is my reference angle. So how much? 30 degree, 45 degree. So this will be also equal to 30 and 45. So this is my reference angle, which is always equal to 90 degree. Now let us revise again the laws of reflection, because this is an important phenomena. So whenever the light is the incident ray means a single light ray, right? And what is called the bunch of the rays? They are called beam. So you had studied it about all this ray and beam, convergent, divergent beam in your 6th standard. But let us take up one single ray, the incident ray. The incident ray, the reflected ray, I'm using that color chalk pen which I have used to draw the diagram. The incident ray, the reflected ray, right? They, at the point of incidence, I'm taking up another chalk to represent the normal, that is a 90 degree. At the point of incidence, this is the point of incidence where my thumb is lying. So at the point of incidence, they lie on the same plane. Plane is same. You have talked about the plane in your maths classes. The second law states that angle of incidence, the angle of incidence at which the incident ray is making with the normal, this is the angle of incidence, right? To make up an angle, you need two rays. When two rays, they meet at a point, they form angle. So this is angle, this is angle, this is angle, this is 90 degree angle, as you can see. Now we are taking incident ray, the normal, and this angle is angle of incidence. The same way, normal will stay here. It will stay 90 degree. Now this is the angle of reflection. This angle and this angle, they both are equal. So what is the second law? Angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. Now we will take up the diagram so that the laws are very clear and understood. Again repeating, incident ray, highlight the things you should not miss out. Incident ray, the reflected ray, and the normal. Three things you have to mention. You need not forget that. Incident ray, the reflected ray, the normal, at the point of incidence where they're meeting, right? So they lie on the same plane. Second law, I always ask my student, if you forget the things about the lines, and then just remember angle I is equal to angle R. Now this is an important section we are going to cover, and that is how reflection is drawn, diagrammatically represented reflection of a light on a mirror. So if a mirror is there, I have taken one mirror, I have taken my face mirror over here. So if this is a plane mirror I have taken, so how this mirror is going to do the reflection? So take it as like this. This surface is lying here, and when I have to draw this, I will use this line as a plane surface, right, my dear students, and polished it, because this part is polished. This is a reflection wala portion. This is a polished surface. You cannot see face over here, but you can see my finger there, right? So this is what we are going to talk about. Now, this is your polished, this is a reflected surface. This is the surface which I have drawn with a single line with slant into it. Slant means the polished part. Now, when the light is falling on the surface, this light ray, one single light, so we are talking about the ray. So this will be called incident ray. When it will be striking at this point, my dear students, mark this point. Though in this particular thing, you cannot mark it nicely, but let me mark this point. This is the point of incidence. Now, this is the point of incidence. Let me take it to the close-up. From here only the reflection will go on. See my arrow. Arrow will show me the way, the path it is taking. The light is coming inside. Now here the light is going outside. So arrow is very important. Half marks gets deducted if you are not marking your arrows. This is the point of incidence. So this should be, right, they should be together at this particular point. Then this particular part is a reference. I have used the dotted lines because it is not an, this is just a referral angle, right? So this is 90 degree to this plane, 90 degree to this plane, not to these two lines. Now this is angle of incidence and this is angle of reflection. So what we are going to do is that this is a diagrammatic presentation. Incident ray, arrow in, arrow out. Reflected ray, dotted in between. The normal, this is reflection of a light ray. Do polish the surface. This is a plane surface and this is a plane reflection by a plane mirror. Very important, after drawing this, do write your labels. Like you will say I incident ray, R reflected ray, then angle I is equal to angle I. This is angle of incidence, incidence, CE, and angle R is angle of reflection. So this is how your diagram gets complete. Once you have drawn the part, labeled everything, defined it, incoming and outgoing rays, and very important, then write down in the end the corner points, right? So you can write this name. Many books they write the diagram O, mark this with O. This is A, this is B, this is N. So you can say AO is the incident ray, OB is the reflected ray, right? And what is ON? ON is the normal. Right? So angle AON is the incident angle of incidence. Angle NOB या BON is your angle of reflection. So you can use the mathematical way terminologies when you write the angles and the rays and complete this reflection diagram. This is important section.